One.
Hey, everybody. So we're here at Gapminder. This is the website for the think tank that Hans Rosling works at and runs. And we're here looking at how we can use data to tell the story of population growth and along a whole bunch of different factors. So this is a site that we're going to use today. There's a quick Gapminder test that I'd like for you to take, and it doesn't matter what you score on it. It's sort of looking at a bunch of different ideas and questions to sort of see how much we know about the current state of things in different parts of the world and what's going on with population. We're going to use your answers to those questions to power the beginning part of the worksheet that we're going to look at today. So take that test, and then at the end, you're going to see all of your answers that'll pop up there, and then we'll use that to populate some of the fields. So really, the thing we're here to do sort of the most is this Gapminder tool. We want to make our own bubble chart, just like the one we saw in the video. So you're going to click on Gapminder Tools, and you're going to be brought to their bubble chart tool. And as this thing loads here, there's a how to use tutorial that'll walk you through step by step all the things you need to know. But basically, what we're interested in today is making some sort of a question, a scientific question that we can write a hypothesis about, collect some data on, and then view that data and see how closely the data matched our prediction. And so the most useful thing for us is we can look at on the Y and the X axis here. There's a little drop-down window, and you can decide what factors we're displaying on the axes of the graph. So you could put, like we saw the other day in his video, we can look at the babies per woman. We can look at CO2 emissions for that country as time goes by. And we can sort that parameter. So, what kinds of questions might you ask about CO2 emissions? How did those change over time? What do they depend on? And so once this pops up, so we can look at CO2 emissions and we can sort it by any of these parameters on the x-axis. So drop that down. And so as an example here, once this pops up, we can look at the CO2 emissions as a function of, let's pick something here, infrastructure. So as infrastructure and traffic, the cars, the trucks, and buses, and the amount of people. So let's set the graph up to chart this data. So we're going to be looking at how CO2 emissions correlate to the percentage or the number of cars, trucks, and buses per 1,000 persons in the country. So when we click play, we'll sort of be able to go all the way back to the earliest data points that they have and start the world and watch these countries move on the graph over time. So when we push play, away they go, and we can start to see, we can click on some of these countries. Here's China, this big red dot here, and we can look at what happened to China's CO2 emissions as the numbers of cars, trucks, and buses increased. And I think this is a pretty obvious correlation, right? The more cars, trucks, and buses there are, the more emissions that there's going to be. So when you approach this, I want you to kind of ask some questions that might be a little more nuanced or complex than this, but you're going to pick your X and Y axes. You're going to make a prediction, write a hypothesis, view the data, and then talk about what you saw and particular data points that were there. The last little tidbit that I've got to show you is at the end of this, when we go to represent the data, I want you to use the snapshot tool to copy your chart and paste it into the document. So you're going to hit the control button, the shift button, and the screen switcher button, which is sort of right above the 6. It's got a square and a couple little lines there. When you hit that, the screen goes gray and your cursor now becomes a selection tool. So you're going to grab this entire chart and you're going to select that, and you can see it'll save that as a download that you can then attach to your document. Okay, so once you've done all that, you're ready to sort of do the analysis and wrap up the assignment. But I wanted just to give you a quick overview of what we were going to attempt to do.